We are witnessing our nation being mugged in broad daylight. Voter fraud, lying polls, abuse of power. How's it going to end? I don't know, but friends, we have to pray and we have to fight like crazy because everything that we value and cherish is on the line. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance.
It's not hyperbole. When I say that everything we cherish is on the line, I actually mean those words. What do you cherish? Most of us cherish God, religious liberty, our families, the lives of the innocent, freedom of movement, the ability to make a living. We like being able to get in our cars and to go places. I mean, some of this seems almost petty, but friends, it's not an over-exaggeration. If you look at what Biden and his people have committed to do to this country, if they seize power, then literally what we cherish is on the line. Oh, we'll still be able to believe in Jesus quietly in our heart. But if they get their way, the public declaration of the scriptures and the truths of the scriptures, it's just a matter of time till certain elements of that are considered hate crimes. If you defend the biblical paradigm of the family, look what's going on in Canada. We want to look the other way. It's happening up there, but let's not go to Canada. Let's stay right here. We're being mugged in broad daylight. There is no question in my mind that there has been voter fraud. Why else would you keep poll watchers 30 feet away? They can't see if it's a matching signature. They can't see if it's a legitimate ballot. Why else would you, in the middle of the night, secretly be counting ballots in Georgia after they sent people home? Why else in the middle of the night would there suddenly be 120,000 votes that came in just for Biden in Wisconsin so that they overtake the president? That's a statistical impossibility. When you take a batch of votes that big and then you say every single voter in this batch, whether it be mail-in or whether it be in the machine, when you say 100% of those votes went for a candidate, over 100,000 votes, it's a statistical impossibility. On its face, we know that it's fraud. And what's going on in Arizona? This is horrendous. How can they still be counting votes that were given on election day? These are not mail-in ballots that they're dealing with in Arizona. These are ballots that were cast in person. What's happening in Pennsylvania? What's happening in Georgia? Friends, we're being mugged in broad daylight. I want to play a clip for you from Rudy Giuliani, hopefully to bring this into sharp focus. If you can go online and find his whole press conference, it was probably 15 minutes long. It was phenomenal. It was the best I've ever heard him, and he's a good prosecutor. I want to play you just 1 minute of what he said yesterday to help paint the picture of the gravity of the situation. Here he is.
So we are going to continue the lawsuit here. We're going to bring a second one, and then we're going to bring a federal lawsuit. And we're going to take a very good look at whether we bring this nationally. We certainly are going to bring it here and in Wisconsin. Quite possibly, we'll do a national lawsuit and really expose the corruption of the Democrat Party. But this is beyond anything I've ever seen before. This comes when you think you have so much power and you own the media that you can do anything you want. Well, sorry, we're going to fight for the people. We're going to vindicate their right. And the ultimate result is President Trump has won Pennsylvania. I've never heard of a count where you're ahead by 400,000 with 80+% counted, and they haven't called it for you yet. They called California the moment the polls closed. How many votes do you have to be ahead?
Well, here's what's going to happen. Either President Trump in the next 48 hours is going to be declared the winner of this election because he kept Georgia, which is hanging by a thread right now. He kept North Carolina. He kept Pennsylvania, which is hanging by a thread right now. And he won Arizona. Now, if that happens in the next 48 hours, then he won the election. If it doesn't happen in the next 48 hours, then we are in for a multi-week court battle. And the question is this: will any judge say, you know, we do think that it was inappropriate, probably illegal, for you to keep poll watchers from examining the mail-in ballots? The fact that Pennsylvania Supreme Court passed a law that says the signature doesn't have to match in a mail-in ballot? Are you kidding me? Talk about an invitation to fraud. When I go in, I have to sign. I voted on Tuesday. I had to show my ID. I had to prove that it was me. I had to match my signature. That's the way you keep voter fraud from happening. So the question is this: if a judge says, yep, we're going to go through all those paper ballots, then what? They're stored in boxes somewhere in these various states. So are we going to have people go through them one at a time, like we did with the hanging Chads 20 years ago in Florida? Maybe. But in Florida, it was 500, 600, 700 ballots that were in question. In this election, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of ballots. Hundreds of thousands that were sent out, and then people were given open invitation to just send them back. No verification. We don't even know how many illegal immigrants have voted. We don't know how many dead people have voted. We don't know how many out-of-state people have voted. That's a common practice in the Philadelphia, Jersey, New York City corridor. Ship people around from state to state. This is what we're facing. I've got to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to do something just a little crazy. I'm going to look at a silver lining. I'm going to look at a few silver linings that are in the middle of this. They're not much, but at least there's something. Please don't go away. Welcome back to the program, friend. I want to say for the record, if Biden steals this election and he is inaugurated as the president of the United States, it means to me, from what I've seen, what I have predicted for decades, it means that God is handing us over for judgment. Now, how severe will the judgment be? I don't know. We can talk about that in the coming weeks and months if Biden succeeds in this mugging. But we will have an illegitimate president. He will be an illegitimate president. And he will be a part of the chastening of Almighty God against our nation because we put our comfort and our finances ahead of the lives of the innocent, ahead of justice, righteousness, and holiness in our nation. All right, now let me go over a couple of silver linings with you. If we do lose, God, please, but if we do, here are some silver linings. Number one, President Trump has appointed nearly 300 federal judges. Nearly 300 men and women have been put on the federal bench at different levels, most of whom are conservative, most of whom believe in the rule of law. We just saw, just before the election, Amy Barrett. She is now on the Supreme Court. Her presence there and others might be what we need to overturn Roe versus Wade. The greatest blessing of having President Trump as our president may turn out to be that he was able to put all of those federal judges on the bench and that he was able to put 3 people on the Supreme Court. There's going to be a lot of fights in federal court, a lot. And when we get to those fights, it's going to be a blessing for us that President Trump put those people in there. And he had a lot of conservative advisors telling him who to put in. Number 2, the polling industry is now riddled, no, plagued would be better, with contempt. We know that they're frauds. We know that they're liars. We know that they are into voter suppression. We know that they are propagandists. The polling industry was so wrong in 2016, and they were even more wrong this time. There was supposed to be a blue wave. They were going to take the Senate. They were going to get more seats in the House. The Republicans kept the Senate. The Republicans, we still don't know what the full House numbers are, but the Republicans are gaining seats in the House right now. President Trump won Florida by 3.5 points. He blew Biden out of the water in Iowa by almost 8 points. This nonsense that Texas was in play, every time I heard that, I thought, you people are you're such liars. Trump carried Texas by 6 points. So if you look at the polling industry, they are a part of the problem. And you have to understand, the purpose behind lying polls is to suppress the vote, to have people go, oh, what's the use? Like that poll that showed Biden up 17 points in Wisconsin. That was so fraudulent on its face. But think of the number of Trump people that heard that poll and thought, oh, Biden's going to win. What's the use? I might as well not vote. It's more than negligence. It's malice. It's deceit on an epic scale. Another silver lining is that the major media has lost all credibility. Now, for many of us, it's been that way for some time. But this will calcify, it will solidify the fact that we know that they are prophets of darkness. We know that they are just an extension of the Democrat Party. Now, the benefit is that it will give shows like Rush and Sean and Mark Levin. It'll give shows like this little television show. It'll give us a rising tide of credibility because at least we're trying to call balls and strikes. So it's going to be us against them in the media world. It really is. I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound divisive, but we are a divided nation. We have to admit that. We have to accept it. We have to look at it. And the chasm of divide is not going to mend quickly and easily. And it's in part there because of the liars at ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post. When I hear another journalist on the air say, there's no evidence of voter fraud, they're lying. They're actually lying. And they either have to know they're lying or they have to know that there have been 15 different press releases in their inbox showing them various places, various stories, history of voter fraud in the Northeast especially. And they say, I'm not going to look at it. And then at least I can say that I never have seen any evidence. The evidence is there and you won't look at it. These people are filled with malice and evil. And I've got to take a break, but please remember this, please. There are ideologues. They want the Green New Deal. They want socialism. They want universal health care. They're out there. I accept that. And we can debate these things. But the core of their being, the reason they hate Trump and the reason they want control of this country, it's about hedonistic sex and about abortion. Please don't doubt me. This is because they want to be able to have sex with anyone they want. They want to change their gender if they want. They want homosexual marriage. They want to be able to kill their offspring should they get pregnant. That's what this is about. At its core, the spiritual dynamic, what they crave, that's what it is. And these people in the media, many of them, not all of them, but in the national media, by the time they get there, they're full-blown heathen. Please, do background. Look at how few of them ever darken a church door. Look when you can find it at their personal lives. They are evildoers, liars, filled with malice, hatred, envy, and they want sexual promiscuity at any level, and they want to be able to kill their offspring. And we are the voice saying no to that. That's why they want to silence us. I'm sorry, I'm way over my time. I got to take a quick break. When we come back, a couple more silver linings that I know you're going to appreciate. Welcome back, friend. A couple more silver linings in the middle of this insanity. Big tech, Silicon Valley, Google, Facebook, Twitter. We now see, like we've never seen before, that they are villains. They are self-consciously seeking to crush dissent, to silence voices. This nameless, faceless, except for Zuckerberg, these people are hell-bent on suppressing truth. When the story about Biden's laptop came out, it was legitimate news, and all of the big tech companies shut it down. We probably have a crime syndicate family that is on the cusp of becoming the president of the United States, and they shut it down. So this leads to now we see it, now we know it, okay? Which leads to my next possible silver lining. If President Trump loses this election, please God, don't let it happen. That family, the Trump family, has been talking about a new communications company. Somebody to compete with big media and to compete with big tech. And I'll tell you, I'd buy stock in that fast. I would switch all my YouTube, everything I have, I would move over to a platform owned by the Trump family that allowed freedom. And if I was advising them, I would say, let anybody say anything they want, just don't let pornography on. That's what I would say. If people want to come on and lie, distort, hey, it's like being in a bar. We go in, we talk, we have a beer, we have a sandwich. Uh-oh, it got crazy. Those guys are throwing punches. Okay, throwing punches in cyberspace. We have to have a platform that is not run by the secret police of thought. And that's what's going on right now. And by the way, the House might not do anything, but there's going to be lawsuits. The Senate, there's going to be lawsuits. Because Google, Facebook, Twitter, these people, they are suppressing truth, and they can't have it both ways. They can't say this is a private company, we can do what we want, but then suppress truth, which in effect is telling lies. They're actually involved in cover-ups. They're actually involved in lies. It's things that are scandalous, things that might be involved in civil litigation against them because of the victims, people who have suffered because of that. It's early, it's premature, but believe me, there is talk about massive litigation against these people, and I can't wait for the day that it happens. I'll be right back with two more itty-bitty silver linings. Don't go away. Welcome back, friend. A couple more silver linings. Number one, we now see, like we've never seen before, the treachery of evangelical and Roman Catholic clergy. Look at these groups. Pro-life evangelicals for Biden? Another one, evangelicals for Biden? Billy Graham's granddaughter using her family name to say that she's voting for Biden? This is all unthinkable. And the logic that they give is so absurd that they don't want divisiveness anymore, that they're tired of the hatred. We're pro-life. Use this line of logic. Look, while I don't agree with Hitler on his policy regarding the Jews, I don't agree with him on that. I still think that there are other issues that matter. Education, work, lifting people out of poverty, ending divisiveness. That's why I'm giving my vote for Adolf Hitler with a clean conscience. Now, that's offensive, right? That is absurd, right? Well, it's being said, I say it so that you can see the absurdity of the clergy saying that they get behind Biden. All those images you saw, these are put together by clergy, by famous people from inside the evangelical world. And then there's their counterparts in the Catholic world. This is treachery of the highest order, and now we see it. We must oppose these people. We must confront them, and we must seek to mitigate their influence anywhere and everywhere we can, because they are false teachers. I'll be coming back to that theme. And finally, the last silver lining, the Republicans kept the Senate. We don't know if they've got the backbone to fight the way they're going to need to fight if Biden wins. But at least they kept the Senate. And if they'll do their job and they can just keep amnesty away from 15 million illegal immigrants, maybe we can get the country back. If they collapse, then it's over, because those illegals are going to become Democrats, and then that's it. But the Republicans kept the Senate. We need to pray for them that they'll have the courage to keep standing. I'll see you next time.